Welcome to It's Always Sunny in. Well, we got few things today. We got It's Always Sunny in LA, It's Always Sunny in Miami, and even a bit of Detroit. I'm your host, Red. Why don't you two introduce yourself?
My name is Patty, and my ass might be dumb, but I ain't no dumbass.
And I'm Lugia, and I don't have anything for this.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about two Elmore Leonard adaptations, one by Quentin Tarantino and one by Steven Soderbergh. Before we get into that, though, just want to say rest in peace, Tatsuya Nakadai. He is a legendary Japanese actor. He's probably best known for so many actually, because he's been in a bunch of Kobayashi films. He's been in a bunch of Kurosawa films. He was with like 11 movies with Kobayashi. He was in the Human Condition trilogy, Harakiri, Kwaidan, Samurai Rebellion. He also did five with Akira Kurosawa, which is Ran, Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, High and Low, just a lot of stuff. He was in Sword of Doom, Kagemusha, The Tale of Princess Kaguya. He's in honestly some of the most legendary Japanese films of all time. Yeah, rest in peace. Anyway, I was thinking we start with Jackie Brown, just since that adaptation came out first. That
Yeah,
sound
okay.
good to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Jackie Brown's a 1997 American crime film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, adapted from his 1992 novel Rum Punch. And yeah, this was his grand follow-up to Pulp Fiction, which to a lot of people they were a bit underwhelmed just because Pulp Fiction was so snappy, and this one took a much more different sort of approach. Personally, though, I love it. They actually acquired the rights to three of his novels: Rum Punch, Freaky Deaky, and Killshot. Initially, he was planning on filming Freaky D or Killshot and having another director direct Rum Punch, but he changed his mind after rereading Rum Punch, and yeah, he fell in love with the novel again. He also very specifically wrote it with Pam Grier in mind to play Jackie Brown. In fact, he like specifically told Pam Grier that he was writing a role for her, which is interesting because Jackie Brown is actually called Jackie Burke in the book, and she is a white blonde woman. But yeah, Tarantino was actually hesitant about telling Leonard the changes, but when he finally spoke to him, Leonard loved the screenplay and considered it the best of his adaptations. And let me tell you, there are a lot of Elmer Leonard adaptations. I think there was like 26 at the time, and there were several more that came out after this. It was also specifically designed to resemble a couple blaxploitation films, although it itself is not, trying to be a blaxploitation film. Also, since I don't know where to mention this, the opening title sequence is a homage to The Graduate. Just instead of playing the somber sound of silence, it's playing, across 110th Street,
Do they do the
which
same
is a
thing
soul.
where the main character's like not really walking, but just like moving on like some sort of rolling
Yeah,
floor piece? Okay.
she's trying to evoke like similar sort of directionless with the character. So Pam Grier was actually meant to play the character Jodie in Pulp Fiction, but Tarantino did not believe that the audience could find it believable for Eric Stoltz to yell at her. Also, apparently, Sylvester Stallone was offered the role of Louis Gara, which obviously later went to Robert De Niro. Tarantino considered Paul Newman, Gene Hackman, and John Saxon for Max Cherry before settling on Robert Forster. So, what is the story of Jackie Brown? I'm gonna keep this quick. So Jackie Brown's a flight attendant who smuggles money for this criminal called Ordell. When Ordell's bagman Beaumont Livingston is arrested, Ordell hires a bail bondsman to bail him out. That's Max Cherry. And then he lures Beaumont into the trunk of his car and then kills him. Yeah, acting on information Beaumont already gave him, we followed ATF agent Ray Nicolette and LAPD detective Marcus Dargis in intercepting Jackie with Ordell's cash, which then ultimately results in Jackie having to work for the ATF. Ordell replaces Beaumont with a Louis Gara, which is his former cellmate from prison. Yeah, I guess the movie from then on sort of becomes Jackie sort of working with the ATF and these criminals and sort of trying to pull a fast one on both of them while also developing a romance with Max. So what did you guys think of the film
Well,
overall?
being a Quentin Tarantino film, there were a few Tarantino trademarks, I'll say, that I kind of noticed. Well, first off, there was a unapologetic foot shot about 5 minutes in. The style did kind of remind me of Pulp Fiction in more ways than one. So we follow characters' different perspectives. It's not like out of order per se.
Yeah, the final sequence we basically have you guys ever seen the Stanley Kubrick film The Killing?
No.
No.
Okay, well, it's very similar. See, in The Killing, it's about a heist, and then we see the heist from multiple different sort of angles, which all reveal kind of new information. And then yeah, that's kind of like how this heist is sort of shown at the end. Well, this isn't like a heist, but you know what I mean. We basically see it from a bunch of different perspectives. So it's kind of a similar deal there.
Definitely that. The beginning also kind of caught me off guard because the movie's called Jackie Brown. You expect her to be like the center of attention for most of it. But the first half hour or so is focused on Ordell exclusively. And then it goes back to Jackie and then they interact and all that. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Pulp Fiction in the sense that like we follow these different perspectives and you're never really stuck on a pair of characters for too long.
That's just sort of how the novel sort of unfolded. It's kind of funny.
I haven't
Although
read
I
the
know,
novel,
like when
so I wouldn't know.
when he wrote Pulp Fiction, I think he like specifically said that. I think the reason Tarantino does like weird structures because he's always like, I want to make a movie that feels like, you're reading a novel, which novels tend to jump around a bit more, just the way chapters are.
I enjoyed the misdirection a lot too. Nothing was ever straightforward in Jackie Brown, especially for the heist, because there's always something that happens that causes the plan to take a left turn. Like there's the part where Lewis gets like fed up with Melanie, so he just fucking shoots her. And then Jackie Brown herself is like double, triple crossing everybody just so that Max Cherry benefits the most out of the heist and they can fuck over Ordell. So there's always something in this film that keeps you engaged and you never really expect what's coming next.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this movie. I thought it was okay. I thought the performances were great, but I mean, Samuel Jackson, like being in a movie automatically bumps it up a grade or two. I thought the soundtrack was pretty funky, and I did like seeing at the end the different perspectives of how the plan paid out. I don't know. Overall, I like this movie didn't fully click with me, and I can't really give you a good reason why. Like, it was okay. Like, I enjoyed my time, but I don't know. I don't really know if I'm gonna think about this movie much after.
Was it because of the slow burn to the heist?
Yes, like this is a 2.5 hour movie, and like it did feel a bit inconsistently paced. Like there were some scenes like I just was not into.
Yes, sir. I think this is one of my favorite Tarantinos. Maybe not the favorite one because I probably like Pulp Fiction and maybe one or two more than this, but this is up there for me. I think the thing that really drew me about it was mostly just like kind of the characters. I feel like this is like it's probably like a weird thing to say, but like I feel like this is Tarantino's most like human movie because I feel like with all of his other movies, he always kind of does like sort of larger than life characters and it's very in your face. And I feel like this one is like incredibly laid back and I feel like all of his characters, they feel, you're kind of weathered. They're all kind of like, middle aged. They're all kind of like, I really like the romance between sort of Max Cherry and Jackie Brown. That's kind of like the thing that,
Surprisingly, that was one of the aspects of the movie I liked the most.
yeah, I'd say that's the part I like the most. I'd say like that and the multiple perspective things. Those were like the two things that really grabbed me about the movie. What I like is like they're all kind of like sort of imperfect, middle-aged characters. Like Max Cherry, he's not like he's not a badass. He's like a schlub. He's like balding. Jackie Brown isn't some master criminal. I really like that kind of scene where she's like practicing her quick draw.
They
I
held
really
their
like
own
that scene
against
too.
Ordell though. Like when Ordell was about to strangle her, like she was intelligent enough to like bring a gun with her.
Yeah, Louis is also like just kind of funny because like he just seems like just like a really kind of tired, grumpy guy. Like in the middle of the robbery, he like forgot where he parked, which to me like that's a very like kind of like human thing. Jackie Brown works for me because of like the details, just like the fact that every character just kind of feels like a real person, and I just like the romance and kind of the thing. That's kind of like I feel like the appeal of Elmore Leonard stuff is just that like he's good at least like the Elmore Leonard ones I like is like I think he's good at writing kind of like an interesting sort of set piece, interesting sort of characters, and then he's decent at romance. Although he doesn't actually write that often. I just happen to select the two that he writes romance for. I do kind of get why this is like widely considered Tarantino's like weakest film, just because like it's probably the least him. It's much more Elmore Leonard, but I think it's like a great adaptation, and it's also not snappy. It doesn't have like that craziness, but I really liked it. And yeah, the soundtrack is fantastic. A lot of those songs are in my rotation now. I think this movie's actually like the same length as Pulp Fiction, but obviously
Two and
Pulp
a
Fiction
half,
is like
yeah.
it just moves a lot more. So yeah, I get your length complaint.
What are your thoughts on the ending where Max almost makes like a big move and like asks Jackie out, but then she drives away?
I liked it. I feel like she knew he liked him, but no,
But
like
like
she
they were
wanted to.
so close to like having an actual relationship, but then it was too late.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the part of the thing, because they're such realized characters. I just kind of like accepted it, that Max kind of had his own reason for why he declined the invitation. But I'm sort of a fan of these sort of like unresolved kind of endings like that. What did you think of Michael Keaton's character? We didn't talk about him yet.
Okay. There's a very specific reason why you bring him up. In the context of
Yes.
this movie, he's a very significant character, more than I thought he would be. As someone who's like part of the ATF, like he's on the side of justice, and he's also helping Jackie Brown, but also somewhat against her. So it's like he's almost kind of a puppet in what she does. Because when Ordell comes in his last scene, I don't think we ever see Ordell take out the gun, but Jackie like screams like, "Look out, Ray! He's got a gun!" And then he comes in and shoots Ordell. So in a way, he's kind of being manipulated by Jackie, but
I'll be honest, my favorite parts of the movie were whenever it was a scene with Max, Jackie, or Ordell.
Yeah, I mean I'd say those are the best parts. Although I do like Lewis. I feel like he has some funny bits.
again, though, there's a very specific reason why you brought up Michael. You want to
Yes,
get
and
into
I
You don't
that?
want
guess
to get into that?
let's get into that. So, Out of Sight is a 1998 film, just came out 1 year after Jackie Brown, directed by Steven Soderbergh, and it's an adaptation of Elmore's '96 novel of the same name. And it's the first of several collaborations between Soderbergh and Clooney. They're probably best known for the Ocean's 11 trilogy. Also stars Jennifer Lopez, Ving Rhames, Don Cheadle, Steve Zahn, and a few others. It also has a special guest appearance from Michael Keaton, who is reprising his role of Ray Nicolette from Jackie Brown.
And that caught me off guard. Granted, it's only for a brief cameo and he's in one scene, but when I saw him, I had to do a double take, and I'm like, I just saw this guy. What the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the
That's
exact same character.
yeah, so
Light spoiler ahead though. I was actually more shocked at the other person
Oh yeah.
from Jackie Brown that appeared later in the movie, but we'll get to that in due time.
yeah, so Elmore Leonard, a lot of his crime novels, they sort of take place in the same universe. I know Karen Cisco appears in the TV show Justified also. So Elmore Leonard kind of has a shared universe. I think Tarantino, he found out that Soderbergh was adapting Out of Sight, and he was like, I think Ray Nicolette has like a scene in there. So he told him, Michael Keaton, I think he asked Michael Keaton if he wanted to, have a brief little cameo scene, and yeah, they had that organized. And what's funny is this movie wasn't actually made because of Jackie Brown. It was made because of Get Shorty, which came out in '95, which is another Leonard adaptation. Danny DeVito and I think his name is Barry Sonnenfeld. Yeah, they bought the rights to it. I think Steve Soderbergh, he was under contract at Universal to make two films, to make another film or something, and he was offered Out of Sight with George Clooney attached. Sandra Bullock was originally going to play Karen Cisco, and they thought that they had good chemistry, but they thought it was just wrong for the film. They didn't think they had quite what he was looking for. So the character fully appealed to Clooney, who as a boy he kind of always liked bank robbers. He always kind of liked the classic heist film. Cagney, Bogart, Steve McQueen. Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now was a primary influence, particularly in the romance. Although it sounds crazy to me because I swore that was like a murder film. That was like a thriller, which I've not seen that film. But anyway, yeah, Danny DeVito and Gary Shandling were originally considered for the role, but they decided to give it to Albert Brooks instead, which was a fun surprise for me because I'm a big Albert Brooks fan. So Miramax technically owned the rights to, because Miramax owned the rights to Jackie Brown, they technically owned the rights to Michael Keaton's character. Quentin Tarantino basically had to yeah, they basically had to call in a favor. Quentin Tarantino basically like asked Miramax to not charge Universal for use of the character, so he would show up. So a lot of work went into that brief Michael Keaton cameo, which is kind of funny to me. Ironically, I think this movie was significantly more successful than Jackie Brown, which I don't think is the case now. I feel like more people know Jackie Brown than Out of Sight. Okay, they're actually making about the same amount. I remember Out of Sight used to be a very popular movie. It's kind of just fallen off because I think Steven Soderbergh isn't just talked about as much.
I remember
But
hearing about Out of Sight more than Jackie Brown.
really,
I don't think I've heard of either of these movies until you brought them up.
well, anyway, so Out of Sight stars bank robber Jack Foley, and so the movie kind of jumps around in chronology a bit. So I'm just gonna try to give you, I guess, That's sort of like the chronological thing. So basically, bank robber is he's locked up and he's in I think while he's in jail, he meets a bunch of people. He meets Snoopy, who is this boxer. He meets this white collar criminal from Detroit. Yeah, they hear about this uncut diamonds hidden inside his home. Basically, a plan gets made for them to steal it from him. Chronologically, I think that's like the first event. However, after his release, Foley, wants to give Honest Living a chance, but unfortunately, he is offered a menial security guard position, which he dislikes, and after storming out of that interview, he attempts to rob a bank. The bank robbery scene is actually the first scene in the movie. And yeah, he gets sent back to jail. But this time, him and his friends organize a breakout plan, and then we have a pretty lengthy sequence where they try to break out of prison, and then they're caught by U.S. Marshal Karen Sisko, and then him and Karen Sisko basically kind of start up a somewhat of a flirtation sort of romance thing. There's sort of a cat and mouse game going on with between him and Karen. A lot jumping out through time, though, from what I understand. Basically, they do end up together the day before the heist. Then we have a big heist scene, and ultimately, Karen does still arrest him, but obviously makes it easy for him to escape by introducing him to another criminal. It's a very kind of light film, very well edited, in my opinion. Apparently, the same editor as Lawrence of Arabia, so she might be one of the best editors of all time because that's also one of the best edited movies I've ever seen.
I did notice a lot of freeze frames in this movie. Is that like her thing?
Not really. I think that was just something I wanted you to hear. But I was thinking about all like the I like how kind of rhythmic the editing was. Like, you have Clooney, opening up his lighter and lot, and they kind of use that as a way to sort of cut between stuff. That's sort of a trademark because in Lawrence of Arabia, there's this very famous scene where Lawrence blows out a match, and the second the match goes out is when they cut. So I guess similar thing with the lighter here, flip the lighter and then cuts to a new scene. So that's more of a trademark than the freeze frame. I want to hear Patty's opinion first because he was probably the weakest on Jackie Brown.
Yeah, I thought Jackie Brown was an okay film. This I do like a bit more. I'm not head over heels for this one, but I did quite enjoy this one a bit more. It did really grip me at the start with, you just see George Clooney's character angrily throwing his tie on the ground. I'm like, all right, what's his story? And then he pulls off like the smoothest bank robbery in history. Like no weapons or anything. He just talks his way through it. I honestly thought it was really funny. And then there's the whole, breakout scene, which I thought was really fun. And then like 5 minutes of Jack and Karen conversing in the trunk of the car. Like they start talking about Faye Dunaway movies and like, hey, if we were in a different scenario, like, you think we could work as a couple? And I just thought that was really funny. And I don't know. I feel like compared to Jackie Brown, this film just like really like caught me.
Yeah, I remember. Here's the thing. So I heard of Jackie Brown first, and Out of Sight was just like an afterthought. But I heard of it, so I decided to check it out. And yeah, I kind of agree. Like I love Jackie Brown. I think Out of Sight's so much more fun. Like the best part of Jackie Brown to me was kind of the romance. I kind of and the heist. I kind of like the romance and heist here. Like maybe a little more. I don't know.
I think I enjoyed the romance more in Jackie Brown than I did here in Out of Sight. I don't know. To me, it felt like a more artificial, considering that.
See, I agree that. I do agree that I think this movie is a lot more slick and artificial. Jackie Brown definitely feels more like real characters and a real world, but I don't know. I feel like this movie is it's so snappy that like I kind of just roll with it.
It has more fun moments. I do agree on that, but I think the payoff of Jackie Brown is greater in my opinion with the heist.
I think like Jackie Brown's like I guess a like more I don't know sophisticated movie. Like it feels much more like emotionally gratifying. But in terms of just like pure entertainment, this is one of the most fun movies I've ever seen. There's not really a dull moment. It's either just a fun, very snappy kind of romance. I feel like the best way I could describe is like Jackie Brown feels like a real romance, and Out of Sight is I guess kind of like the kind of romance you kind of wish, like you kind of wish you were that charismatic. Is that a good way of describing it? Because like
yeah, I see what you mean by that.
Clooney in this, I think this is like I do not think this movie would work if George Clooney was not cast. Because I cannot think of another actor I think that could pull off
like
this kind
literally
of
you look at him, he just oozes charisma just from his face.
Though I'm gonna be honest, the thing that like really surprised me performance-wise was Jennifer Lopez because like
We
she doesn't
saw
have like
Geely.
a good rep. We saw Geely. Like I didn't. It's shocking that she's capable of this. She actually she's actually good.
This was before
Yeah.
Geely. So she had it in her.
Halo, what happened?
I don't know. I blame Ben Affleck. Or
Damn
I
it,
blame
Ben.
whoever directed it. I don't know. Steven Soderbergh, he directed the Ocean's trilogy too, which also has this kind of like slick kind of feel to it. In fact, if you like Out of Sight, definitely check out the Ocean's 11 movies. Although I feel like most people have seen Ocean's 11 when they haven't seen this. So really, if you like Ocean's 11, check out this because yeah.
Lugia, let me ask. Overall, did you think Jackie Brown was better than
I
Out of
liked
Sight?
it more, but Out of Sight does some things differently, and it does it well. I think it's a
Yeah.
matter of preference. I think as a whole, I do prefer Jackie Brown, but I'm not gonna say Out of Sight was bad or middling. No, it was still a great watch.
Here's the, I kind of gave both of them like the same score in my head. Although I don't know, like I love rewatching both of them because I've rewatched both these movies like multiple times. So I don't know.
I
just
assume not back
I'm
to
a
back, right?
not always back to back. I think I did like once. I here's the thing. I tend to watch Jackie Brown first. This time I watched Out of Sight first, and because of that, the whole time I was just thinking about that. Okay, let's just talk about the Michael Keaton scene. In the Michael Keaton scene, did you guys think that him and Karen were dating? Because that's kind of the implication I got. So the
Yeah.
whole time I was watching Jackie Brown, I was like, George Clooney is cucking this guy. Like that. That was just in the back of my head the whole time when I was watching Jackie Brown. I was like, that was just really funny to me. I don't know.
We want to get into the other cameo real quick.
Sure.
So Samuel L. Jackson's also in this film. He does not play the same character. He's not Ordell. He's a completely different guy. But it still threw me off guard. So they put in Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
plays
I'll
the
be honest.
exact
I
same
completely
character.
forgot.
He
I
plays the exact
completely
same
forgot Samuel
character he
Jackson was
did
in this
in
movie.
Jackie Brown. And then you get Samuel L. Jackson, who doesn't play Ordell because, spoilers, Ordell is fucking dead. So he plays someone else.
Theoretically, it could take place before, but you know. And who says this takes place after Jackie Brown? It could take place before Jackie Brown, you know. That's what I thought, honestly, just because.
And that's how the movie ends. It ends with Jack meeting this other guy who's thrown into the same prison truck as him. He's like, "We have a long drive. You want to hear my story?"
I think this movie,
Plot,
yeah.
plot
I'd say,
twist:
like,
it is Ordell. He's just a ghost relaying his story, which is Jackie Brown.
How did they catch a ghost?
well, again, I think
I don't know.
This movie might take place before Jackie Brown, so
I don't know. I'm just making a joke about.
I think Jackie Brown was
fact
supposed
that
to be
it's Samuel Jackson.
1995. Was it?
I don't know.
Maybe Ordell lived. Were you killed? Sadly, yes. But I lived. Nah, I'm just pulling bullshit.
Speaking of Ordell and the other guy, I forgot to mention, but like these aren't the only like books with these characters. So like there is another Jack Foley book. There's another Karen Cisco book. There was another Ordell book. In fact, you know how Lewis is sprung out of prison. There was an Ordell and Lewis book before Rum Punch or Jackie Brown, and that's where Lewis gets arrested and thrown in jail. So yeah, I think that might be why like it's the novel started off with Lewis and Ordell instead of focusing on Jackie because technically speaking, this is a follow up to a previous story.
So Elmore
But,
has
yeah.
his own like little universe that he does anything with these characters with.
Yeah, he does basically. Yeah, I definitely say this movie's like main two highlights are the breakout sequence, which is a surprisingly long sequence, and the ending heist sequence, and then just all the flirting in between. I feel like everything else is just sort of like fun sort of character work and sort of just a cat and mouse thing. But like those two sequences I really love, and I really love Karen and Jack's sort of banter. How long was this movie? Was this shorter than Jackie Brown?
This was 2 hours.
It feels shorter. Okay. Yeah, this movie feels like a lot tighter, which I think is like another reason why this probably like stood out to people more. Just I think like the reason this stood out more is one, Jackie Brown feels very different in terms of like Tarantino's catalog. When this feels exactly what you kind of expect from Soderbergh, given that he became famous for Ocean's 11, and this was made like right before Ocean's 11, is very similar. Also, just that this movie is just kind of a lot tighter. I feel like all the stuff that like lagged that Patty didn't like, this doesn't really have that as much. This is much more snappy.
Yeah, not as much. I will admit there are a few scenes I didn't care for in here. Like, I'll be honest, the whole scene where in the middle where Jack and Karen meet at the hotel and have a bit of a date, that scene felt like kind of out of left field for me. Like the
Not left
atmosphere,
field.
the vibe was, I don't know. I felt like it feels like a bit of a different movie.
I mean, yeah, they're pretending to be different people. I don't know. I thought it was like cute because I feel like that was probably their. Because in terms of banter, it's mostly that scene and the trunk scene. So I don't know.
Like the one.
I guess
time
I don't
they're
know.
allowed to
It felt kind
be
of weird to
together.
me.
No, I thought it was kind of cute, especially because like they're both like playing these characters like in a role play thing, and then like halfway through he just breaks character. He's just like, "How long are we gonna keep this going?" He's like, "Come on, man." Also, underrated Don Cheadle performance. I really liked him in this movie. I don't know what you guys thought of him.
Who did he play?
He played the the robber at the Snoopy.
Oh, yeah.
He was like he was like the villain of the film, kind of. Like, there's not really like a clear villain, but he's like the biggest you could say. It has like an antagonistic role.
Crushed the goldfish.
I feel like it kind of fits like a similar sort of mold that Ordell does. I think Ordell's like a little bit better, but I've had a lot of fun with him here. Some fun details here that I thought were kind of funny. I liked how, because I saw that this is me watching it again. I picked up on this, but when the dude shot himself in the face, were you guys shocked?
I
How
was
shocked were you?
laughing.
A little bit, yeah.
I thought that
Okay,
was
yeah.
funny.
You've seen Burn After Reading, right? I showed you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the
This and
earliest
Burn After
episodes we
Reading
did.
gotta be like the two funniest like deaths I've seen in a movie, man.
The
I
character's
laughed
name
my-
was White Boy, by the way.
Yeah, that was really fucking funny.
White Boy shot
Um,
himself.
Yeah, but anyway, when I was watching this, when they first show up at the house, he trips on the stairs, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like they're like foreshadowing that he was gonna shoot himself in the face by tripping.
I missed that.
I was like, that was amazing.
mean,
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming, but I should have.
And that's like the funny thing is like when you rewatch it, it's like, wait, they like set it up.
Yeah,
What do you
exactly.
mean?
Like it's just like such an unexpected thing, like in general. But when they set it up like that, it's like, oh, it's actually fairly obvious why he did that now.
So yeah, this is just like a really, to me, this is like almost a perfect popcorn movie. Just like it's just a lot of fun. I think Jackie Brown is like there's probably more substance to it, but yeah, I don't know. If you like the Ocean's 11 movies or if you like Logan Lucky, definitely check this out because it's got a similar vibe. I'd say the only difference is that this movie has a libido, which is a compliment because I kind of like that this, it's got that little extra something. I'd also recommend checking out the Thomas Crown Affair if you like this movie. If you like Jackie Brown, I guess The Killing by Stanley Kubrick. If the heist is the part you like the most, because that movie is has a similar approach. It's a very different type of heist, but like I feel like you'd like that approach to it. And yeah, I guess check out some more Elmore Leonard adaptations. They're fun like this. At least it's crime flicks. He's done a lot of westerns too, which are very different. Check out Get Shorty, I guess. And there is a Karen Sisco TV show, and her character shows up in Justified, so I guess you can watch that if you like Out of Sight also. Who's next week?
It's me.
Sugia.
Okay. This is gonna be a weird one. I kind of want to break the traditional mold of filmmaking for this next recommendation. I know Red has seen this in the past, but Patty has not. This is gonna be like another Who Killed Captain Alex sort of situation. Except this film is a little different with how it presents itself. But we'll get into that when we do the episode. I think we'll also see this together because for next week, we're going to be talking about Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
I've heard of this. I know nothing of it.
Then you are in for a surprise.
Yeah, you go in blind. Definitely.
Okay.
Should we tell them the premise or?
No.
That's gonna be interesting. I feel like most people watching it, they kind of at least know a little background information, but that'll be fun. Just throw them in the dark. All right. Next week, Kung Pao Enter the Fist, directed by Steve Odenkirk. Not Odenkirk like Bob Odenkirk. This one has an E in it. That was It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. See you guys next week for Kung Pao Enter the Fist.